Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at how to improve your ChatGPT or any LLM experience with the best prompting techniques. We're also going to be looking at some of the good AI tools related to ChatGPT or even like other LLMs that are better than ChatGPT. So let's get into it. So when you're talking about prompting techniques, I want to tell you why you actually need these prompting techniques. Because there are a lot of questions that ChatGPT cannot answer. Let us take a look at one of them. Okay, so apparently it now got the answer to this question. This is a very simple question, but as we increase the complexity, ChatGPT really fails. And this is even more prominent in some common sense questions. So, this is why a lot of the times you use prompting techniques. So, these prompting techniques help ChatGPT know how to answer. So, let me take a look at one prompting technique that really improves the answer. So usually when you're solving a math problem, usually you assign variables and you use common steps instead of responding with natural language. So let's tell it how to do that. We're gonna give it an example, and this is called multi-shot prompting. So each shot is a one example. So if you take a look at one shot prompting, it's just giving one example on how to respond, and based on that, ChatGPT will respond for you. Let me show you what I mean. So we're gonna be using a question and answer format like this. Oh, oops. Okay. Let me just copy this prompt here. And let me provide the answer that I want. So it's like, so now I'm gonna ask it another question and it should respond in this style. So I'm gonna ask it a variation of this question. Okay, so you can see that it didn't quite stick to the format, but because we specified all the steps, it thought to that process and generally if you provide the answer to this, it will just copy that answer for this. But it actually thought through this and it correctly identified that the number of books left to read in the library would be one. So this is one way to really improve ChatGPT's thinking process. And so instead of directly giving it the answer, you give it example with a lot more steps. This is called chain of thought prompting. So those are two prompting techniques. Let's take a look at one of them. And for this, let's jump to a different interface. Let's go to Copilot, which is using, you know, GPT-4. Now you can subscribe to Copilot Pro, which just gives you access to priority access. Like you can even use GPT-4 in very priority times when there's a lot of usage, and Microsoft is trying to cover that up by having a plus plan. So you can also use it in the free plan, but a lot of times when there's too much load on the servers, you're gonna be downgraded to GPT 3.5. So I don't think there's going to be too much of a rush to use GPT-4 now. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be using ChatGPT-4 for this conversation. So one problem with Microsoft Bing is that if you ask it to do something, a lot of times it just refuses to do it. Let me just show you one thing. So I asked it to give three ways to improve your answer along with a critique. And you can see that it really does not understand what I'm trying to do here. It's just saying that it cannot, evaluate or improve its own answers, and actually it can do that. It's just that, you know, it just doesn't want to do it, and this is why there's a technique called role assignment, where you improve the abilities of this copilot. So instead of telling it what to do, you just tell it that it already does that. Let me show you what's the difference. So instead of asking it to do something, you give it a role. Like you can just use Copilot, and now you can say that. So instead of telling it what to do, you basically set out its preferences. So you tell that it already does that. That's wait. Okay, so oh, even though it's telling that I do not like to give three ways my answer could be improved, it does actually follow with the responses. So yeah, let me ask it a different question. Okay, so it forgot to generate the critique of its answer, but I think that's probably because its answer is, very long. I just ask it to do that. So yeah, even though it did not do it in the actual answer, after I asked it to do it, it did do it. So this is one way you could kind of exploit Copilot, because usually it censors everything, and if I ask it to do something, it just chooses what it wants to do, and this is really not helpful in any way. So what you could do is just tell it that it already does this, and sometimes even if it tells that it does not like to do it, it just does it by default. So this is one way that you could improve Copilot, because that is one of its main problems. It's just way too, it's way too heavy with its censorship. So yeah, now we're also gonna identify. I already talked to you about Copilot, which uses GPT-4 for free. But I'm also going to try to identify some other chatbots that are also very good. So, if you want a general all purpose chatbot that does almost everything very nicely, and you want to choose what chatbot you want, I recommend you go ahead to this link, huggingfaces.co/spaces/LMSys chatbot arena, or you could just type LMSys chatbot arena leaderboard on Google and you'll find this page. So the reason I like this compared to all the other benchmarks that you see is because this is actually based on human voting, and you can vote here. So basically what how the votes are done is that they give you two responses from different chatbots, and initially they do not specify what chatbot is which, and then you vote on which response was better, and then after that they reveal which chatbot it is. So this makes it very accurate, and because the actual humans are rating this, you can trust the leaderboard. Now this leaderboard is constantly changing, but the top 10 remains about the same. GPT-4 Turbo is in the lead, and I've seen it be in the lead for quite a bit of time now. You can see it has the unmatched yield of 1249. It's the top chatbot, followed by these other models of GPT-4. And the closest competitors to GPT-4 are Claude and Mistral Medium. And actually, the positioning of this could change, day by day. Because last time I checked, Mistral was a bit better than Claude, and now Claude is a bit better than Mistral. Their ELOs are pretty close together, so yeah. uh, if you want to find the best open source model, and if you want to use it on your computer, or for your own website, the closest open source model that is still comparatively good is Mistral 8 times 7b instruct. So this is quite a revolutionary model, because this was one of the first models to, overthrow GPT 3.5 Turbo in performance. And you can see it's actually ranked higher than Claude 2.1 and even Gemini Pro, both versions of it. So yeah, if you want a good open source chatbot, I think you can use Mixtral. So you can use trust this leaderboard, because unlike benchmarks where they calculate it based on percentage, the problem with benchmarks is that they can easily be manipulated. So one person can specifically train it to be good at benchmarks, even though it is actually not that good at real world performance. So this reflects the real world performance. Now, I also have a bit of recommendations on what chatbots to use for a specific task. So generally, GPT-4 is good for an all-round task, as well as Mistral Medium. But if you want more specific tasks, here's like a quick guide. So if you want coding, then GPT-4 Turbo and um, Code Llama as well as Visit Coder is the best chatbot for you. So Code Llama and Visit Coder are both open source. So this is the best non-proprietary alternative to GPT-4 Turbo. If you want a good writing assistant or something that can write in very good natural language, I recommend Claude. Claude 1 or Claude 2 can be good for you. And the thing is, I think these are much better than GPT-4 or GPT-4 Turbo, because GPT-4 tends to write in a robotic way that does not sound the best for natural language, and it's really bad at fictional writing for dialogues as well. So I recommend you use Claude. And if you want to do nice maths, like if you want a LLM that is good at maths, GPT-4 Turbo is good at that. It's good at logical reasoning and maths. But some other, LLMs include GOAT, which is fine-tuned for arithmetic. Now, I really don't recommend you directly use LLMs for maths because they're not trained to be good at maths. So you can use other tools, or you can use LLMs in conjunction with other tools to really improve their performance with maths. And one approach to this is called a tool based approach. Basically, what you do is, instead of asking it to do all the arithmetic calculations by hand, which is possible, but it is really prone to error, you ask you ask it to use Python for that and focus on the main problem solving and methodology. So that's one way you can improve the response. And also, if you want a LLM that's really good at role playing, say you want it to act like some person and you want it to be natural, I think the best for that would be something like um, Open Hermes, or you can even use something called Mythomax. So yeah, I hope that clarifies some of your needs. So yeah, now next let's move on to some AI prompting tools, and the best one I found so far is called the Prompt Index. I'm gonna go to it. So you go to the promptindex.com and click on Explore AI Prompt Database. So these are user rated prompts. Now, they're not the best prompts, and if you can make your own prompts for your specific needs, it will actually be better. But if you're new to prompt engineering and you just want a prompt that improves the chatbot's performance, you can take a look at some of these. So the top prompt is this unbelievable custom instruction, and this is good. Although in my personal use, I found super prompt for constructing those prompts and Quicksilver OS to be a bit better. And one thing to note about these prompts is that most of them have been engineered for GPT-4. If you try to put them inside of GPT 3.5, it doesn't go that well. So it just repeats whatever is inside these, and you can't actually accomplish something useful with those. So I highly recommend you use GPT-4 with these prompts. So yeah. Okay, another thing that I want to take a look at is the best extensions that use AI. So the best AI extensions. Now, unfortunately, not a lot of extensions are available for Firefox. But if you're using Chrome or any Chromium based browser like Edge, there are a lot of extensions out there. And specifically, I have selected four of the top extensions. I'm sorry if I've missed any of your favorite extensions, but I've done research and these four have been the top extensions that came in Google search. So let's take a comparison on all of these. So the first one I tried out was Harpa. So you can install this. And one thing I really like about Harpa is that first, it is really good for its user interface. You know, you can see how you can drag this around. It looks very nice and it's not too distractive. And it also has this sidebar, which is really helpful for writing. So I went to Calmly Writer to test these out. It's just a plain notepad like writer. So a good thing about Harpa is that you can use these commands, these custom commands that there are a lot of, there are a ton of commands here, and you can, and these are already having all the prompts, so you don't need to take care of the prompt engineering, and you can use these to your wish. Now there are actually a limited amount of these commands, so I found that it's enough for the free plan. But if you really want this, you can upgrade to the pro plan. And the thing is, for the actual messages, there is actually no limit. So if you're not going to use those commands, or if you're not going to summarize the web page or something, if you just want ChatGPT to be there with you, actually there's no limit for the regular messages. So it's usually just the commands. Another thing is that you can create your own command, and I believe the number of commands that you can use is not fixed, but I think it should be about 20 to 30, which for me was enough. Okay. Another extension that I found was Max AI, and I really found myself liking this. One thing that it does not have is like a draggable interface, and it kind of makes a permanent sidebar here. So if you don't like that, it's a little, wonky. But the reason I really like it is because it offers unlimited, you know, chat for most features that you want. So unless you want GPT-4 or something, you don't need to upgrade. And even if you want GPT-4, there's a way to get it. You can use the Open API key, or you can even use the Bing chat. You can connect this with Bing chat web app, and the performance isn't that good, but it is still, you know, better than GPT 3.5. And also you can use other things like Gemini or Claude. So that's one thing. There is, you can also adjust the temperature, which is basically how creative it gets, and you can say select the exact model. So I believe there is a cap. You can't really use GPT-4 Turbo unless you pay. So yeah, I really like this because there are a lot of features, and the only reason you would want to upgrade to Pro is if you want to summarize and chat with any page, or you want to search, using this Copilot mode. So yeah, uh, aside from that, it has unlimited, you know, queries, and even if you like, type something, there's a feature where you can use Max AI to make the text better, and there's no limit on these basic features. That's what I really like. So yeah, the next tool is called Merlin. It seems to be really popular. So Merlin has a limited amount of free commands, but the good thing is that you can at least access GPT-4. Although it is quite expensive, it charges 30 times one query, so just 3 users and you're done for the day. But you can also use other models like Code Llama right here, and Mixtral. You can also use it to access the web. Now, there's for the in-depth mode, you have to pay for the premium access, but for the normal turbo mode, you can use it for free. So it has 102 queries, and after that, you can still chat with it, but it doesn't use these models. It uses the slightly versatile basic Merlin model. So yeah, aside from that, there's not many limitations. There's also an ability to generate images, and you can you can chat with any document for free. Although I recommend you use something different like Claude or Chat PDF if you want to chat with any document, particularly Claude, because Claude has a very high context limit, and using it you can summarize long PDFs very easily. And the next, AI extension is called Cider. So you can there's a mode called the custom prompt mode where you just enter your custom prompt, and you can also use other prompts such as explain this, translate, summarize, and you can, I guess, create your own prompts. So yeah, now there are 30 free queries for GPT 3.5 Turbo, Claude Instant, and Bard, which is significantly less than all the other tools that I've mentioned. But it seems to be pretty nice because you can customize the sidebar thing. So if you want to upgrade to the Pro version, Cider has a good interface. So it also has a lot of tools, and if you are looking to upgrade to something that is more robust, you can upgrade for a pro plan on this. Overall, I think the best free extension should be maxai.me. It has unlimited queries for GPT 3.5 Turbo and Bing Chat, and there's not that many limitations that it has aside from if you want to do a full page summary. The next best would be Harpa, which also has unlimited queries except for you know if you want to use custom commands and stuff. And even that, even when you're using custom commands, there's a pretty generous amount. So I think those two would be good. Merlin, it has 102 query limit, and Cider seems to be the worst overall, especially if you're using the free version. Good thing with Merlin is that there's a API. So if you're looking for that, well then there's the Merlin API. And another good thing about Max AI is that if you use YouTube, and who doesn't use YouTube now? There's a video summarizer that's built in, which I found to be very useful because a lot of the times when you're doing research, there's a ton of YouTube videos and you just cannot identify which one has the correct information. And a lot of the times, the thumbnails and the actual video title is not that helpful in judging what content the video is. And so, if you want to take a look at the actual content within the video, I think the YouTube summarizer is good, especially if you're doing research where there are multiple videos and multiple sources, and you just do not have the time to watch them all. And most of the time, those videos mostly have the same content, and you can't figure out which content is actually worth watching. So I'm just gonna go to YouTube and click on a random video. Let me just see. Okay, let's click on this video.
Do you know the secret ingredients skilled coders use to write clean and
And you can see that it is quite a long video, 20 minutes video, and there's this button called summarize button, and this is powered by Max AI. So you can click on this, and this will summarize. Oh, okay. Apparently, this is limited to um the Pro plan, but there's a summarize with Harpa AI button. This is what I wanted to say. So I want to. There's a multiple variations of this summarize button, but I think the best would be takeaways because it actually passes the video and gives whatever are the new new points that are demonstrated within the video. Okay, so it gives a very good summary of whatever is in the video, and if you want to be a helpful person, you can actually add a comment to this video, and in a lot of videos people do this, so this is good. So if the video is too long, it actually continues with a different prompt with a different chat. and I think this is very good. So yeah. Now one thing about these AI summarizers is that they don't actually work for videos that do not have subtitles because they use the transcript, which is right here, to summarize the video. Now, if you want another way to summarize the video that doesn't have that many limits, you can actually copy this whole thing and put it into Claude. And because Claude has a very big summarizing, like a very big context window, it can actually summarize it for you. And it's actually even more effective compared to Merlin and all these other AI tools because it is actually inside the context and it understands it completely instead of breaking it down into parts and then summarizing each part. So yeah, that's one thing. So yeah, that's a tool. That's a very helpful tool. And another tool I want to talk about is ChatPDF. So you can just go to chatpdf.com and drop whatever PDF you have here. Let me just drop a sample PDF. So this is about AI. And what I want to tell you is that this is different compared to Claude. So while Claude actually processes this entire PDF within its context window and looks at the big picture, this uses something called RAG, I believe Retrieval Augmented Generation. And what it does is, based on our question, it searches for all the relevant paragraphs within this PDF and uses those for the context. So you can ask it specific questions about this PDF. Let me demonstrate it by asking it. Okay, actually, uh, yeah. Oh, spelled paper wrong, but yeah. So based on this paper, used two it has used two sources and has provided two methods that are used in this paper. So yeah, this is a pretty long paper. It's 13 pages. The font is very small. I think this is easily more than like 5,000 words. And yeah, this is really good if you want to talk with any research paper and ask it questions based on this, especially if you have a lot of these research papers and you want to find out specific information without reading the whole thing, because oftentimes a lot of the information is repetitive and there's a lot of common information between multiple papers, and you might already have that knowledge and you're just looking for specific information that is novel to this paper. So yeah, I recommend chat pdf and Claude. So yeah, that's it for today's video. I highly urge you to subscribe to this channel and like this video if you liked it. This helps me know what kind of videos you guys like. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.